probably interested in what we're doing here. Well, this is every year we have a winter conference with all the elections officials across the state. Fortunately, this is a good news tour for the most part. We're going to talk about how I'm going to thank them for how smoothly the elections ran across the state of Ohio. We're going to talk about the fact that we've successfully implemented online voter registration. And we're going to talk about the fact that due to a lot of the changes we've made, we're going to be able to run our office for the final 2 years without using any taxpayer dollars. So there is a lot of good things happening that I want to thank the elections officials for, and just give a recap for our successful operations in the 2016 elections.
We have online registration now. There are people like Representative Clyde who say we should just have automatic registration when someone goes to get their license or whatever. What's your position on that?
That'll be up to the General Assembly to decide. I would explain, though, that if you do something like that, you're going to put a lot of people on the voter rolls that don't necessarily want to be there. You'll create a situation where you'll have people who are on the voter rolls that won't know that they're on the voter rolls, who may not want to be on the voter rolls, and then you'll have an even harder time of maintaining the voter rolls accurately, and as people move and change addresses, and that opens up to a greater risk of fraud. I don't think it's a good policy. I think we should continue what we've been trying to do, make it easy to vote, hard to cheat. Online registration allows anybody to have the opportunity to register right at their fingertips, but the idea of forcing somebody to be registered that doesn't want to be, I don't think appeals to what most voters think we should do in this state.
How's online registration going so far? Do you guys have any numbers on that? Or?
It's going great. As you know, we kicked it off at midnight on New Year's, and since that time we have had about 150 people register online, which obviously is not a big number yet, but these things pick up when we get close to elections, and we'll have hundreds of thousands of people, which will ultimately allow us to save the county's money, the taxpayers' money, because we no longer will have to key all these in manually. They'll automatically upload. We'll be able to check them to make sure that these are people who should be registered in Ohio, and makes it easier to register, more secure, and will save millions in tax dollars.
When should we expect some sort of announcement from you on your intentions for 2018?
I will be announcing something earlier this year about or later this year on what I expect to do. I expect to be late winter, early spring, when we talk about what the next steps might be on a political front. But right now I'm focused on this conference. We'll get Donald Trump inaugurated and get all of his cabinet positions confirmed, and then we'll start talking about what the future is.
You're attending the inauguration?
I am, yes.
Any comment on this federal, decision to...
Yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, about cybersecurity and this designation from Homeland Security about designating the federal government designating state voting machines as critical infrastructure. The big concern that we have about that is, well, what does that mean exactly? Because I did a conference call with Secretary Johnson about this, and I asked that specifically. I said, look, you've been wonderful partners in the past with us on this. What does this designation do that's going to be different? And essentially he said nothing. So he said, well, it's just going to allow us to prioritize you. Well, you already did prioritize us. So I'm not sure that if this is just a symbolic act on their part, or if there's something that it actually gives the federal government power to do that they're not telling us. The bottom line is we've asked them to put this in writing so that we have something that we can all work from, because I don't want to underreact or overreact to something. But until they give us the facts, I think that it's wise to be skeptical about what this really means.
Is that something you expect the Trump administration to reverse? Is this something that's binding moving forward?
Well, there's no. I mean, I think that the Department of Homeland Security could reverse this decision in the Trump administration if they wanted to. And I'm not suggesting that what Homeland Security did is absolutely wrong or that the Trump administration should reverse it. But I do think there's one thing certain. There was no rush to do this right now because there's no federal election for over 2 years. And so we hope that the Homeland Security will sit down with the Secretaries of State from around the country and hear us out on what our concerns are about federal involvement in state elections. And if there is some new designation that the federal government wants to give that's going to take away or allow them to intervene without our permission, then we're going to oppose that, because we don't want any federal takeover at any level of state elections.